You're listening to the Belmar Bites podcast, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. Welcome back, everybody, to the Belmar Bites podcast. I am excited to have another guest slash customer on the pod today. Leslie, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And fantastic. Well, listen, we've had a chance to get to know each other over the last little while, and I know that you've had the opportunity to work with others on our team, and so it's been really exciting just to have conversations with you leading up to the conversation we're having today. And so I've had the opportunity to learn a little bit about you, but for the benefit of those that are listening to the podcast, why don't we start right at the beginning in terms of an introduction. Maybe you can describe a little bit about your background, the organization that you're with, and then from there we'll double click on some topics.
Sounds good. So I'm Leslie Stewart. I'm the Director of Data and Systems at the Alberta Cancer Foundation. I have been in my role for roughly 5 years now. Prior to that, my entire career was spent as a fundraiser. So I have the benefit of having that firsthand fundraising experience and then carrying that over as a bit of a bridge role into the support end of the organization, which has been exciting. And through my time here, I have learned an awful lot about databases and data systems, and I have a wonderful team who manages all of that for us, whether it's the database and the related data to that, or our donation processing. So that is my team's responsibility. And Alberta Cancer Foundation is the fundraising partner for the 17 cancer centers in Alberta, including the brand new one in Calgary, and the major cancer center in Edmonton, and then all of our rural and regional partners. So we're a very busy organization, big and bustling, and always on the go.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, we've had the privilege of working with you and the organization through a pretty sizable technology project, and we're going to get into some of that today in our conversation. But maybe to start, I just want to touch on your background as a fundraiser. So I mean, obviously, the organization that you're in today is a fundraising organization, but it's a very interesting perspective to bring into a technology project that of a former fundraiser. So we have folks on our team who are also former fundraisers, and I always enjoy the conversation with them because they see the world through a different lens when it comes to implementing technologies, specifically Salesforce, within our nonprofit customers. So I didn't know that about you, that you were a former fundraiser. So that's a really interesting tidbit to know. Let's talk about I guess your organization, and you shared kind of scope and reach. But how long has the organization been in existence?
Oh, goodness. We're just celebrating our 40th anniversary year, or we've just come through our 40th anniversary year. There have been a few iterations, always related to the Alberta health system.
Okay.
So, through our current partnership, we are affiliated with all other foundations that are in support of healthcare in Alberta, which is great. And yeah, so our scope is quite provincial. We go north to south, span the whole province, and yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening.
Yeah, awesome. So in 40 years, almost 40 years of history, with that comes previous systems, different ways of doing things. We'll just sort of generalize it as baggage. And so talk to me a little bit about kind of what was the impetus for looking at transitioning away from a legacy or older technology stack into a more modern, and in this case, you selected Salesforce. What was going on in the organization at the time that led to this decision?
That's a fantastic question, and I did think about this a little bit before we got on the call because I wanted to make sure that I had my ducks in a row because there was a lot that happened all at once, seemingly, for considering there was very little happening in the technology space at the organization for quite a while. So, we realized in roughly 2021 that we were at quite high risk, because our systems all our primary systems, so our finance system and our CRM were both legacy, neither of which were going to be supported in their current state moving forward. The finance system, obviously, massive liability to the organization if anything goes south there. And the CRM, which housed 20 plus years of data, had never really been updated. There was never really any significant cleaning done. So we were carrying this behemoth of a database along with us, which was I mean, we Frankensteined it to the best of our ability to make it do what we
Right.
needed it to do, but there was
Not
zero
not
opportunity for
uncommon. I will
growth.
I will add, not uncommon that there's a
Yeah.
lot of Frankensteining going on.
Oh, but let me just say, with the minute you Frankenstein something, trying to reverse the Frankenstein work is an interesting challenge, but one that we were fully prepared to take on, knowing that we would be moving into a system that would be more flexible for us. So when your question was kind of what was the impetus, actually a lot of it was risk mitigation. And the pieces fell together where we were able to do almost like a full enterprise overhaul of our critical systems. And so again, that started in 2021, and yeah, we've moved that forward.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. I mean, I myself was a little bit adjacent to the day-to-day discussions and activities that sort of various members of our team were participating on with ACF. But I do remember this risk mitigation, and that's a very critical problem to solve. But you open yourself up to other problems that get created as you are going through a transformation. None of these are smooth. Uh, they're we hope that both on our side, but also our clients, we've have a kind of a shared and mutual goal or target that we're all aiming for, and that's typically the case. But it's never a straight path to get there. And I'm interested just to get your perspective on, like, prior to making the decision, like, making a technology decision is not one that should be treated lightly, and there's a lot of stakeholders, presumably your leadership, executive leadership, the board, various stakeholders within the organization, even your constituents. What impact is this going to have on them? Uh, can you speak at all to what that process was like? We have people who listen to this, and we have uh, customers or prospective customers that are thinking about, they're where you were in 2021, and I'm looking for just some insights into how did the organization navigate through, what was probably a bit stormy, trying to figure out how do we pick the right product, how do we pick the right partner, and then how do we actually get this going?
Completely fair question. And I think that I can give our perspective, but I know that it is unique to each organization that is kind of facing this challenge. What I will say is the biggest thing for us, and I'll just make a more of a, I guess, a reference here. The first step is admitting there's a problem. A lot of times technology is the thing that everybody needs, but no one really wants to invest in because it is a significant expense. And it's really hard to kind of have that long-term vision of if we do this now, this is going to make our lives better in 5 or 10 years. So organizationally, we were very, very fortunate that we had a CFO come in who assessed the situation and pushed our board to agree to the technology overhaul, which, I mean, considering how old our legacy systems were and how big the risk was, I think they really just needed a clear picture painted for them of what would happen if we didn't do this. So
Yeah.
that was how we got this moving forward.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. And what I interpret there is, it really does take leadership to the leadership team, but also leadership within the leadership team to make a bold decision and to go for it. And I guess my next question is, can you imagine what your life would be like today had you not gone through this journey? Perhaps it would be status quo, but perhaps there would be challenges with your legacy systems that either were known or unknown at that time.
So that's a really interesting question. And I can actually put a little bit of context to this, which was one of my biggest pushes for us to kind of go through this whole technology review and replacement. And I'll use my example as kind of a where would I still be if we had not done this. So in order to run our recurring gifts twice a month, because we had a system that was an application-based system using a shared server within Alberta Health Services at the time was the name. Um, because of the shared server um, space, I had to come in at 3 o'clock in the morning to manually run recurring gifts twice a
Wow.
month.
Wow.
So the move, as I like to describe it, from the Flintstone car of where we were to the very responsible, moderate to mid-sized, sedan that we've moved to, has made a world of difference in my world, but also for the organization. It's opened the door to so many possibilities, for growth and expansion of programs and projects, within almost every team at our organization. So we would have been fully stuck in the space that we were in with the 3 o'clock in the morning data
Yeah.
pushes because, with this the way we had to do it. Moving to a platform that has now allowed us to use the cloud, which was enlightening for our organization, and watching us be able to process and actively engage in real time and see the changes in real time has just made a world of difference for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's exciting. I did not realize that you were either A, you as an individual, and B, ACF as an organization was needing to, find time on the server to process transactions, which unfortunately was at 3 a.m. So that's a very interesting insight, and one that may not be as common today as it was going back a few years ago, but there are certainly many organizations out there today that they've got their own version of that story. There's just with the Frankensteining, the bubble gum and shoelace analogy, like the
MacGyver,
system's
yep.
being held together, and you've got to accommodate the system versus the system accommodating you, and that certainly is not a great spot to be in. But again, coming back to the leadership required to just lead the org out of that spot into what now sounds like you've got this maybe not luxury vehicle, but you're in a mid-sized sedan, like your analogy to how you're viewing Salesforce today. But it's reliable, it's stable, and
It is, and we have the option to upgrade, which is absolutely not something we would have had in our legacy system.
right, right, yeah. Well, that's cool. Next question, then. Let's dive a little bit more into like how the organization is using Salesforce. So you've shared legacy system for processing donations. So that is happening today in Salesforce. What else are you doing in Salesforce as it pertains to the day to day?
Well, we definitely use Salesforce as I guess, an amplified or upscaled reporting tool from what we were working with in the legacy system. Easy to access reports, customizable, great filters. We can design for teams or individuals based on roles, which is incredibly exciting. And everything, again, just emphasizing this updated in real time. Very, very exciting on our end. Contact and account management. So our relationship management for our fundraisers has been personalized to the point where every possible point of contact that they could be making with donors can be recorded. which is very exciting for them. And I think the other thing that I personally am most proud of is we've addressed the need for a dedicated space for gift planning or planned giving, depending on how you refer to it at your organization, which is not something that typically has happened. Normally, legacy giving, gift planning, plan giving is kind of pigeonholed into whatever the standard fundraising buckets are, major
Right.
gift fundraising, whatever fields are available for that kind of get repurposed. But we've been able to build through extensive conversation and an incredibly organized director of planned giving, a dedicated space for tracking prospects, for tracking estates coming in, all of that great stuff that happens in that growing portion of our business. And the ability to say growing is very exciting because, again, that's enabled in large part because we have a system that can now do the tracking.
Yeah, yeah. That's so exciting to hear. I mean, I love the optimism and excitement that I'm hearing in your voice, just in terms of uh, the just the capability and I'm going to sort of reuse that word in part, the ability to go and do things that were never possible before because of the limitations that existed within the previous technology, and so it's really exciting to hear when our customers uh, accomplish their initial set of goals, and then it's just like this world opens up to them in terms of other things that can be accomplished, and oftentimes those are on the list as objectives and targets, things that they're wanting to accomplish. But when they're dealing in the Frankenstein world, like, those are so far from reality, they just, kick those out as to, I may never get that. And so it's really cool to hear that the organization is thinking big about what can be done, and you're seeing growth in the organization. So you've covered what's being done today, and you've hinted at things that you think you may be able to do in the future. I'd love to just get maybe one or two little nuggets from you as to a year from now, where do you think you'll be, and in terms of things that you're maybe not doing today, but you're planning for being able to do these now that you have Salesforce.
Oh, absolutely. So those conversations are ongoing, obviously, as we have more insight into what the system can do with and for us. We're able to kind of start having those dreams again of where we would like to be. So I think one of the first things that we're going to tackle is automations. Using the automations available within Salesforce and the workflows in order to simplify some previously very, very manual work that was
Right.
being done. We had the benefit of implementing a Marketing Cloud account engagement when we implemented NPSP, so nonprofit success pack. So
Hmm.
we're using the two in conjunction, and what we are looking forward to in the coming days actually is starting to build in the flows between the two systems so that we can use the marketing tool and the mass marketing email component to better track how people are engaging with us, where those donations are coming from, starting to build out some of the reflection of that in the account and contact records in Salesforce. And we intentionally knew that that was going to be post implementation, almost like enhancement work that was going to be done because it required quite a bit of concentrated effort. And we just needed to get things stabilized within the system first before we took on this kind of like next step. So that's definitely a direction we're heading in, and embracing the full capabilities of engagement plans and dashboarding is also something that we are going to start working on in the very near future. So we definitely have a roadmap for moving ahead on these things and starting small and building the foundations in place for them so that we can build up and out and
Yeah.
continue to use them. Like the system is just so incredibly strong in these areas. We just want to make sure we're learning as we go as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I like your analogy, up and out. You're starting at the core, you're getting the core capabilities, and as those mature, as the organization, as the knowledge of the organization matures in terms of what Salesforce can do, then you could begin to branch out. And and that's exciting to hear. And also just hearing the confidence, the words you're using, confidence, stability, those are they're wonderful to hear because so we know that, we see that, we experience that ourselves. Our customers, as they are thinking about making it as a transition, through the transition, even post transition, sometimes they're not experiencing all of those sort of the positive aspects that you're describing today, because their teams are having to come up to speed. Even the software it's having to be refined to really mesh with the team that's using it. And so your the words you're using are music to my ears, because it's so wonderful to see the journey the last couple of years, and now what you're able to accomplish. So that's awesome. We're living in a new paradigm with AI, and it was just over 3 years ago that OpenAI announced ChatGPT, and I actually remember the day it happened, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" And I think I spent the next couple of evenings playing with it, and fast forward 3 years from that announcement. Day to day, the world doesn't feel different, but it's everywhere, and that's if in the software world, that's seems to be all anybody's talking about. Um, I'd love your perspective on what your organization is doing today with AI, whether that pertains to Salesforce or it doesn't, just how you're thinking about it, and where you see AI um, working its way into the organization, and benefiting your teams, but also benefiting your constituents.
Yeah, AI, hey? It's interesting because we're so focused right now on just making sure that we have that stabilization in place with the systems that we are comfortable and I think probably a little bit cozy in using. We haven't dabbled in introducing AI into any part of this work yet, but I am not so naive as to think that that is not going to be in the near future. So I think part of our future focus, part of our kind of our roadmap, is absolutely going to have to include the inclusion of AI. And the Salesforce tools for AI usage are so strong,
Hmm.
definitely will help enhance the work that we're already doing. Once we're ready to kind of embrace that, when we're feeling comfortable enough that we're in a stable enough space in this new tool we're learning how to use, starting to introduce AI into it as well. Organizationally, I can't really speak to how the rest of the organization is using or contemplating AI, but I know that in the communications space, there's really no way around it. There's no way to
Right.
avoid it. So because we have such an advanced marketing and communications team and their skill set is so strong, I am confident that it is being used in a way that has helped encourage and enhance the campaigns that we've got going on.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe to frame that even a little differently, is to you, and for that matter, many of our other customers that we talk to about this, they don't know that they are building the blocks, or they have the building blocks in place, and they are, in some cases unknowingly, um, setting themselves up for success in the future. And what I mean by that is, uh, in order for AI, as it at least pertains to Salesforce, and it being able to take actions for you, or help you, with predictive aspects of your work. It at its core, it needs a foundation of data to work from. So it's not going to go out and use the public data. It's going to use your internal data to help you make decisions. And so with Salesforce within the organization today, and your use of it and diligence around it, you're building this foundation that when the organization is ready to take that step, your systems will be ready and capable to support that, which is awesome. Uh, Leslie, one of the things that I love asking customers is just the aha moment, and I know you've shared some tidbits already in terms of some other aha moments, but if you think back over the last couple of months, is there one thing that jumps to mind in terms of like, wow, we're now able to do this in Salesforce, and I just love it because it just makes my life so much easier. And I know you referenced earlier the you're not having to get up at 3 a.m. to process. Um, Give me another one. What else have you got in terms of one of
Oh,
these ahas?
so I probably just took it on myself, but I was glued to our online donation tracking, the object that comes through for us, and the reports that show how active and how successful our end of year campaign was. Watching donation after donation after donation come in real time,
Yeah,
being able to, make edits to contact records when people, capitalized all of their name rather than just the first and, first letter of first and last. That was, a tremendous epiphany for me that we have now moved into a space where rather than having to be constantly reactive, we can watch things happen. We can remove the requirements for manual interventions and things. I mean, yes, I know I just said I have to, like, edit contact records, but that's so minor because I can see it and
yeah,
do it as it comes in rather than having to wait 24 hours for the server to update, for the record to show,
yeah,
sending the note to the team to please go in and make this change, being able to do it in real time and just again watch the success of the campaigns as we were going through was the most recent aha moment I've had, and that's an exciting one to share.
yeah, yeah. That's so cool. What I hear in that is the organization can now make real time decisions based on real time and accurate data, which for those that don't have that, it's just so difficult. The decisions are delayed. You're making decisions with old information. Uh, ACF can now make decisions in almost real time with the information that exists in Salesforce. So that's really cool. Um, all right. Well, a couple of other questions I've got for you. One is advice that you can provide to someone and or an organization that uh, is where you were back in 2021. Uh, what pearl of wisdom, what gem can you give to somebody that's thinking they're in the same spot, they're thinking about this, but they haven't quite made that decision? What advice would you provide?
I think the first thing that I would recommend, and I would recommend this very, very strongly, is understand what your needs are. Um, Not just because of what you can currently do, but what you want to be able to do. If you have a growth plan, how does your CRM help support the growth plan? One of the best things that we did was a whole bunch of process mapping before we moved into the implementation process with Belmar. And in doing so, we had to do a lot of introspection and a lot of evaluation of our internal processes, the ties into the CRM, identifying areas that we knew could be done more efficiently. It was a lot of work done up front that really helped tee up a very successful, very clear partnership with Belmar. So even something as simple as just doing an evaluation of current processes and steps, procedures, all of those things, having that on hand, and then taking a close look and seeing where you know that there is excessive time spent, where you know that more modern technology could help create some efficiencies that would then have that trickle down effect of freeing up time or expediting reporting, that kind of thing. Having a clear view of where you are and where you want to go, I think is a really important first step. And then the other thing that I would strongly suggest is do some research before you go into the process to understand whether you want to go with a platform application or just a different type of system so that you know what you're taking on. So for a lot of people, application does work because it's very, very in the box, very, you do this, this happens. Platform is where the growth comes in. And if you're looking to grow and expand and kind of take on innovations, you might want to consider going the platform route where you can actually, again, build up and out as you need to. So understanding exactly what your organization's needs are is going to help you figure out the best way to address them.
Amazing. Great advice. And I've written down a couple of notes here for myself because I mean we share a similar message, but it's amazing just to hear it from you. And Leslie, we love when our customers and our community have a chance to connect and engage. Uh, if somebody wanted to reach out and have a conversation, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Oh, I would love that. I love talking about this stuff. Email is great. You can find me on LinkedIn if you need to, but honestly, I don't know. Is it easiest to just say my email address and then people can reach
You
out
know
if
what
they
we can
need
do
to? Or
is if somebody wants to connect with you, reach out to me or reach out to somebody on our team. We've got all of Leslie's contact information, but what maybe even just in your LinkedIn handle, is it your first name, last name?
first name, last name, easy to find.
All
I
right, so
probably have
Leslie
some connection
Stewart.
to Alberta
Yeah,
Cancer Foundation on there somewhere. So
yeah. Google
very
Alberta
happy to answer
Cancer
questions.
Foundation, Leslie Stewart,
Yep,
and you're going to find Leslie. And so thanks for offering to do that. And it's so fun when the community, especially the nonprofit community, is connected and you can share ideas and uh, just share ideas. And so, Leslie, I really appreciate you doing this. It's been fun. It's been insightful, and I'm grateful for your time. And thanks
my
so
pleasure.
much for those that have listened. If you want to reach out to Leslie, do so. If you can't find her for whatever reason, reach out to me and I'll get y'all connected. So, Leslie, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Belmar Bites, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or on our website at belmarcloud.com.